normally start over on my right. And so whenever you're ready, Mr. Bennett, pull the microphone close, introduce yourself, and go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee. My name is Monty Bennett. I am a private citizen, a businessman in Dallas, and I've taken up the charge to try to help my city with this big homelessness problem. So thank you for having me today. I was here this morning and missed a lot of the testimony, so forgive me how much I've repeated, but there's a few things that I think are important for us to consider with this legislation. The first is that the cities have given valiant efforts to this problem, and they've worked with a lot of local groups and have done a lot of great work. But the point is that it's just not working, and I do believe that the state needs to get involved in some ways. Money is always appreciated, but directing traffic and setting standards and doing kinds of things is very helpful. So I would like the state to get involved and to really hit this issue head on. A few of my thoughts is that with a lot of these homeless shelters downtown, it creates a problem because as people seek help and then they don't have help for a while and then they seek help again and they're walking all around downtown, and many of them are fine, but many of them are not. And these poor individuals have psychological problems or they have addiction issues and they definitely need help, but it makes it difficult. There's two sides to this coin, and I think both have been spoken to today. The one side is these are people that we should take care of and help. Christ commands us. It is our duty to help our fellow man, and these poor people need help. At the same time, they shouldn't have the right to make our communities not livable. And that's the case in downtown Dallas and in other places. They shouldn't have the right to take public property and convert it to private property, which is what happens when they occupy places. And so I'd like the Senate's and the state of Texas help in crafting something that ensures both happens, that these people get the help that they need, but that also our communities stay livable. There's some type of standard set, some type of way to ensure that. I love the Haven for Homeless model. There's kind of two components of it, in my opinion. The first component is there's a spot that everyone knows where to drop somebody off at, the police or the fire or whomever, so there's not that confusion that exists in Dallas today of there's a certain individual and does he qualify for going to this shelter or that shelter, but having one spot to take him is very, very helpful. And then there's the idea of the co-locating of services, and whatever the state does, I know that will happen over time. Both Haven for Homeless and in Dallas, I'm calling it the Refuge for Renewal. Same concept, though, of having more and more services provided there, but then also having a lot of the existing providers have an office there, also moved there, whatever the case may be, and located on a big enough piece of land, I think in a 50-acre size to continue to expand and grow and to help people. I think, though, we also need to be careful in that when you look at different ethnic groups, you see that proportionally there's not very many Asians and not very many Hispanics that avail themselves of these services. And in my experience, those communities are more family focused and they take care of the people in their families that need help. That's less so in the white and black culture, in my experience. And so what I don't think we should do is do something that creates an incentive for those people that are taking care of a family member to say, oh, well, the city does such a great job here, we'll let grandma go into the system. If that happens, and no doubt it's happening some already, there's not enough money in the world to accommodate all the people that will avail themselves of the service. I don't know how to solve that problem, but as far as root cause, I don't believe it's an economic one because there's 99.99% of the people in the state that have the same economic issues but are able to have housing. The housing costs don't help, don't get me wrong, but the underlying issue is the breakdown of our family and us taking care of those people. I've got a mother-in-law that's got Parkinson's. She's very sick. I'm blessed to be able to afford care for her. Lots of people aren't, but they still take care of them. Again, especially in the Hispanic community. My wife's Hispanic, so I see that a lot. So I think we have to take care to not create more of a problem by trying to help those that really need it. And I don't know the best way to have that filter. But anyway, those are just some comments and some thoughts I wanted to share. So thank you for having me, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thanks for being here and sharing that with us. Constable, pull that microphone over, introduce yourself, and go ahead.
Stacy Suits, Travis County Constable, Precinct 3. My precinct's in South Austin and Southwest Austin. When I ran for constable in 2016, and the lady from Sunrise will speak next, but I got a lot of complaints about going door to door about the homeless underneath Ben White Boulevard. In 2011, in the Oak Hill area, we had a homeless campfire start, a wildfire, and we had 15 houses burned down, and we had to evacuate 5,000 people out of the area. And so I kept telling the people as I was going door to door, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something, I promise. So right now after I got in office, I've got 2 deputies that do homeless outreach. They take medical people, social workers into the camps. We monitor every camp south of the river and out into the rural areas that we can find. The idea is we're real concerned, especially in the western part of the county, and that's never been. I mainly came to learn today, and there's 2 points that I want to make. Is the downtown homeless population and the suburban rural populations are different populations. And there's got to be greater outreach efforts, multi-department. Our commissioner's court seems to think homelessness is a city issue, and I disagree. Once we have that wildfire, I'm going to say, I told you so. But we work real closely with placing homeless women out of South Austin in the marshaling yard to get them out of danger. We work real close with Camp Esperanza. We work very closely with Sunrise Navigation Center. We've got to do better on realizing we've got two different populations, and then factor in the wildfire danger.
Thank you for that. Thank you for drawing attention to that important piece of this. Thanks for what you're doing. Welcome. Pull that microphone over. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sonia Burns, and I'm going to ask that you all please listen and ask me questions. Please. So, and I don't work with Sunrise, but I work with Sunrise, but I don't work for Sunrise. Anyway, so I'm Sonia Burns, and I wanted to talk about a group of people that we have completely left out of the continuum of care. And those are the individuals who are too acute to engage voluntarily in services, but not acute enough for inpatient care. And please pay attention to this word, because they are at baseline. So now I'm at baseline. I can't go to a hospital because I'm not going to benefit from treatment. So this same group goes to jail all the time, and then I'm incompetent to stand trial, and I'm unlikely to restore. And if you go on Nextdoor, you're going to see everything about your DA, your county attorney, law enforcement. Nobody's doing anything. And what taxpayers do not understand is there is nothing that can be done in the criminal legal system, and then there's no place to go. And when we're looking at our local mental health authorities, our IDD authorities, our housing, our hospitals, we get to a certain level of care and then we stop, and then we throw them back to the streets and the jails. We are not accounting for a person's true level of need. And so when we talk about data, I was appreciating Senator Zaffarini's questions. We need data on who you cannot serve. We have to be much more forthcoming. We know who these people are, and then we try. And what I want to say is, and I know my time is going to run out. I do want to be able to go over, and I want you to ask me about the IDD part too. But this population is also prioritized. So I have to get you out of jail. I have to get you out of the hospital. So I am going to put you in that permanent supportive housing. I'm going to put you on the highest level of care in the community. It's not going to work. We all knew it when we sat in the room and made the decision. Now I have burned bridges with my landlords, my property managers, my providers, because this person could not meet the expectations. Also, I'm not sure if you all are aware, may I please? Thank you. Just like the state hospitals, our state-supported living centers, the number one population comes from our jails. This is an entitlement. If you meet criteria for admission, you are supposed to know about that housing choice. You should not find out from a DA in Bexar County that there's a state-supported living center, and I've never heard of it before. So we need to have choice. We've heard about home and community-based services. When we're talking about homelessness, you can innovate within which you already fund. So home and community-based services, I do not meet any of the people who are in that highest needs group that do not say to me every time, I need a campus setting, an intentional community. The IDD population also, emergency detentions are tied to, in statute, mental illness. So now if I think you have Down syndrome or something else, I'm gonna say if I can't say that the root cause is mental illness, I'm gonna go with I can't do anything. But if I can, most mental health facilities have exclusionary criteria for IDD, autism, and or nonverbal. You all fund all these private psychiatric beds every session, and nobody has any idea if anybody with IDD or autism or nonverbal can go to those places. So this is a huge problem. And the other piece we need this session is a secure option. All I can do right now, I have so many people, they don't stay where they need to be. They're not safe. Their baseline is I am not successful and safe in the community. I have nothing, a secure option. I have jail, prison, a memory care unit of a nursing home, or the psych facility. I need something in between hospital and community placement, and I really hope that I can work with your offices to get that under regulatory this session.
Thank you. Thanks for your testimony. Welcome. Introduce yourself and go ahead.
Hi, my name is Lauren Pena. I happen to live downtown in East Austin in the second housing projects ever introduced in the nation. Now, if you walk down my stairs, which, by the way, I was actually on the housing list for 10 years with the city of Austin. I experienced homelessness and even human trafficking. It took 10 years before I came up on that list. I finally came up in 2020. So now me and my family, we have a place to stay, which is great. But when we go and we walk down the stairs, to our left, we have a methadone clinic. And as someone else had said, I guess a lot of homeless people, they don't start off having drug addictions and things like that. So I have the methadone clinic next to me, and everybody hangs out there. The population has probably doubled within the past 6 months. Now, you can see when mobile, like Fish and Loaves, come and they deliver the meals, as soon as they leave, the local drug dealers come right to that area. These drug dealers, they give away free fentanyl. Additionally, some of the disabled people in my building also partake in selling the drugs. They use their, I guess, narcotics, and they know that they can go to this methadone clinic and do that. I am actually on the Downtown Austin Community Court Advisory Board, and I recently graduated from the 102nd Austin Community Police Academy. While I was doing a drive along in my sector, Charlie sector, I asked the officer, I'd explained everything I've just explained to you guys. There's all of this drug dealing going on. Why are you guys not doing anything about it? Their response to me was, we know exactly everything that's going on. We see it every day. However, if we try to arrest these individuals, the DA doesn't prosecute them. And so I just want, as far as the idea of having a facility for homeless, I think that's a great idea, but just reiterating that it needs to not be inside the city, and it definitely doesn't need to be in places where there's public housing. And I would like to see if someone could look into the zoning that was brought up, because I don't think you should have a methadone clinic right next to public housing where a significant population of children lives, and it's just out of control. And so I just reiterating again, I think that the facility is a great idea, but it needs to come out of the city centers.
Thank you for sharing that. Your experience means something. You're telling us what it looks like in the real world. Thank you for that. Senator, is there any questions for any of our witnesses, each involved in this, and each with a different perspective, and each making a difference? Thank you for being here. Senator, is there any questions? Thank you guys so much.